Created back in 1974, the original Dungeons & Dragons sold a mere 1,000 copies, but its next year it followed up with 3,000, and the game has only grown since then. With 4 movies, a cartoon series, a library's worth of books, so many audiobooks as well, more video games than you could shake a magic stick at, and not to mention all that glorious YouTube content with creators such as Natural Six, Critical Role, and Oxventure, to mention just a few, D&D is here to stay. But there's a timeline where that nearly didn't happen, and today we're going to talk about the time that Christian fundamentalists went after Dungeons & Dragons and lost. Dungeons & Dragons wasn't really on anyone's radar until the 1980s, and all of a sudden, the nation was gripped with the Satanic Panic. So, you might be wondering, what was the Satanic Panic? Well, it can all be traced back to Lawrence Pastor and his book, Michelle Remembers. Lawrence was treating Michelle, who later became his wife, which is a big problem, and he used the now heavily discredited recovered memories therapy, where apparently she had been tortured and assaulted by Satanists. And this led to the belief that there was a global pedophile sex cult run by Satanists, and America was ready to fight back. On a side note, we are still gripping with the repercussions of this theory today. This was a world post-Manson family, post-Exorcist, and post The Omen. And I know the Manson family was clearly real, and The Exorcist is not real. It's supposed to be based on true story, but people believed it was, and that was a big thing. Not only that, you had waves of new immigrants coming into America, and heavy metal was becoming a concern for the populace. It was only a matter of time before they would find something to blame, and Dungeons & Dragons was an easy target. With its swords, sorcery, and demons, D&D was the perfect target for these crusaders to attack. Unlike any group of crusaders, they needed a knight to lead them, and that was Patricia Pulling. She was the founder of a group called Bothered About Dungeons & Dragons, otherwise known as BADD. B-A-D-D. But to understand Patricia and her motives, we need to understand her son. Irving Pulling, tragically in 1982, at the age of 17, took his own life after battling his own internal demons, and Patricia blamed Dungeons & Dragons. Also at this time, we had the death of James Dallas Egbert III, a young prodigy who, after years of fighting his own demons, took his life and just happened to be a Dungeons & Dragons fan. Patricia had all the evidence she needed to lead her holy war on a board game. Now, a little side note, I'm not going into details about how these two young men died. It's not important to me. All I'm going to tell you is Patricia, the mother of one of them, blamed Dungeons & Dragons. Both young men were fighting their own demons, including possible evidence of homosexuality, and just feeling isolated. And D&D was something they used to feel connected to people. Anyway, let's continue. Patricia tried to sue her son's school because they allowed him to play Dungeons & Dragons, along with Monopoly, by the way. And when that failed, she tried to sue the company that published the game, and that failed because, again, First Amendment rights. And that's why she found it bad. Now, my major dislike for Patricia is she clearly never really tried to play the game. She described D&D as a game filled with demonology, witchcraft, voodoo, murder, rape, suicide, assassination, insanity, sex, perversion, homosexuality, prostitution, satanic rituals, gambling, and so much more. There's a full quote, I've only put like 2/3 of it on. Patricia was a talented firebrand who would rally up churches to fight her cause, She would try and swing policy, and at the end of the day, she would also organise book burnings. If you've ever watched Stranger Things Season 4, they actually show how the Hellfire Club, where the D&D players in that school, how they were ostracised. That was during the Satanic Panic, and that's how people treat them. Now, this is where I'm going to make some assumptions. It seems to me Patricia was grieving, and instead of taking accountability, she chose deflection and blamed something that possibly gave her son joy. As I said earlier, there were reports that her son did not fit in, and some even implied that he was homosexual. And maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, but when you've got a troubled kid from a fundamentalist Christian family whose mum thinks that homosexuality is as bad as rape and cannibalism, well, maybe deep down she knows that she was part of the reason why he took his own life. And we've all done that. Being sad about something and needed someone to blame. Instead of taking accountability, we choose to blame everyone else around us. Unfortunately, this was a runaway train and there was no stopping it. The media loved this narrative. Demons were coming to take away our children through a board game. And, they actually put out this little comic book where it shows a girl meeting a demon after playing D&D. It's ridiculous. There was documentaries. I'm not familiar with Geraldo. I know a little bit about American pop culture from that. And he did a documentary condemning D&D, which he's now retracted, so fair play. I don't know if he's still alive. 60 Minutes did a documentary on D&D, and they got things completely wrong. But it was good television. And speaking of television, there was an awful made-for-TV movie starring Tom Hanks that continued to push this narrative. And it was based on the other case we were talking about. And it involves a kid who stops understanding what's real and what's in the game and tries to kill himself at the end, which leads to this wonderful clip that you probably have seen online.
JJ, what am I doing here?
Patricia Pulling and Bad continued to put out lies about the game. But in the end, you can only lie so much before the truth comes out, and the majority will see that you are completely wrong. Our hero of the story comes in now, fantasy author Michael A. Stackpole. He went head to head with Pulling by releasing the Pulling Report, which dismantled everything that Patricia Pulling said. I'm sad to say that Patricia Pulling died at age 49 in 1997, and by the year 2000, Bad fell apart. I don't think she ever learned from this, and I think she blamed it till the day she died. And maybe this is the sad limp half of me, but I hope she found some comfort in the end. After the year 2000 and Bad's falling apart, there's been numerous studies that have shown that D&D and games like it are actually very good for your mental health. In 2025, D&D is on its 5th edition, its second version of the 5th edition, and it has possibly the world's most popular video game right now, Baldur's Gate 3, on its second year, or third year is it? D&D's here to stay, and it's made my life better. I have fond memories playing this with my childhood best friend, who is sadly no longer with us. The game is more popular than ever, and I guess the only lesson I can take away with is, look at the players at your table and keep an eye on them, because the rest of the world isn't, but we can look out for each other. D&D is great at bringing people together. Let's just make sure they stay alive and look after each other, guys, okay? My name's David, this is the Conquering Chronicler, and if you like this sort of work, please like, follow, and subscribe. And comment below if you want me to do a breakdown of the Pulling Report, because I would love to do that and talk about all the lies that Patricia Pulling told us.